Welcome into the Deportes Nation. This is Alex Parra. And we always talk about sports. We always talk about different topics, usually editorials. But today we have a very special guest. And it's actually our first guest on this new YouTube experiment, if you will, our new YouTube channel. We're going to welcome in current Team USA boxing captain, Ginny Fuchs. First of all, Ginny, if you can hear me, how are you? And welcome.
Hey, Alex. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm actually in Durango, Colorado right now.
What a life you must have. Durango, Colorado. Beautiful, beautiful part of the world. And I won't ask why you're there, but is it beautiful, I imagine?
Oh, yes. It's really beautiful. It's kind of like a little mountain city. And it's the summertime right now, so it's really, really beautiful. And I'm up here actually for my friend's wedding I've known since I was little.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations to you and to the entire wedding party. May you enjoy the weekend. Ginny, a lot of people may not know a lot about you, and I actually wanted to go back a little bit. You're currently a Team USA boxing captain. You're on your way to the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. And can you tell us a little bit how you got started in boxing? What was that first step that you decided to say, you know what, this is my sport? What got you to that point?
So I actually had started boxing in college. I was going to Louisiana State University, and I actually was a walk-on for the cross-country and track team. And my sophomore year, I actually wasn't running for them at the time, and I actually had met a professional boxer who I became really close with. We're still good friends to this day. And I got to watch him train for a fight, and I was like, I want to learn how to box. This looks fun. And plus, I was like, I want to get back in shape. I haven't been competing in my running for a while. So he took me to where he started as an amateur boxer. And within the first day, I just knew. I was like, wow, I think this is what I want to do. I think I'm going to start fighting, training to fight. I loved it. I picked it up real fast. And then the coach there, he came up to me and said, I see a lot of potential in you. Do you want to fight? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I trained for a good year before I got my first fight. And then in 2010, they announced that women boxing was going to be in the Olympics for the first time. And that was back in 2012. So then I made it my goal to make it to the Olympics for boxing.
So growing up, were you an athlete? I know that you're close to a sport of mine, which is soccer. What made you go from soccer and cross country to boxing? What do you think clicked either in your mind or in that moment to attract you to boxing?
Well, I've been an athlete all my life. My parents put me into sports when I was little. I did swim team, I did softball, soccer, basketball. I learned how to water ski when I was 4 years old. So all of that base of from when I was in my youth to throughout middle school and high school is what gave me a good athletic background. I got into running in high school and was really good at it and knew I could run at the collegiate level. So that's why I went to LSU for running. And then I happened to get into boxing through the friend I met. And since I wasn't running for the university anymore, and I knew that I was talented enough to make it to the Olympics in boxing, because going to the Olympics has been my dream since I was little.
Right.
So that was the main thing that clicked. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to be a boxer. I'm going to go to the Olympics. And, my plan now is to even take it to the professional level after Tokyo.
So what clicks in your mind to go from running to saying, hey, I don't mind getting punched and I want to punch? What attracted you to that moment? Is there still, I don't want to use the word high, is there still an excitement to it, Ginny?
When I started boxing, I wasn't even thinking about getting punched in the face and, all that.
Sure.
I liked how boxing incorporated all the skills of an athlete: agility, speed, power, endurance, stamina. I liked that about it. I think that's what attracted to me about it more, because I wanted to challenge myself. It was like, I got all these skills. I want to see how I use it in one sport. So that was the main thing that mostly attracted me to it, and like the discipline behind it, the training behind it,
Sure.
the reward of winning a fight after grueling months of training and cutting weight is something that I know most people can't do, and there's only a small percentage in this world where people can be boxing, and I want to be a part of that percentage, and I knew I could with my athletic background. So I just took it off from there. After I won my first fight, I was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
And you've never been afraid, Ginny, to take a punch? Was that something that, do you remember the first time you got hit pretty hard and you said, wow, what is this about? Was it maybe just the opposite of a detractor? It made you hungrier for the sport? Is that fair?
Well, again, I started off sparring guys. I mean, yeah, it was because I was super green, obviously, when I first started. Yeah, it was light sparring. The dude that was sparring me, it was light. He wasn't trying to hurt me. But I even remember my first punch. It didn't even faze me. Like,
Right.
I mean, of course, I realized I got punched, but it didn't stun me. It didn't make me think like, ooh, maybe I don't want to do this. I don't like getting punched in the head. It actually, like you said, when I would get punched, it would make me be like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna let that happen again. I like how it made me think like, okay, what can I do not to get punched again? I like that sweet science about the sport.
You break many of the stereotypes, and again, I'm using the word stereotype here. A blonde, blue-eyed young lady who's out boxing. Do you ever worry about the cosmetic side? Do you ever worry? You're a beautiful young woman in many aspects, but does the aesthetic side ever get to you and say, hey, I'm not going to do this because of my looks? Has that ever crossed your mind?
I get that question a lot. They're like, but you're so beautiful. What, you don't want to mess
By the
up
way,
this pretty face of yours.
I get that question a lot too. You're so beautiful, Alex. Why are you doing this?
You do. I bet you do, Alex. I bet you do, no doubt.
No, I don't.
But,
Continue,
no,
please.
I've never been worried about that. I've never been worried about, messing my face up in any way, because I know that I'm better than all the girls in my weight class out there, and I know that I won't let that happen to myself.
Sure.
And I know with boxing anything can happen, but that's just not in my universe. Like, in my mind, I'm just not worried about it,
When was the moment or moments when you said, you know what, I'm better than most? Many athletes, and I've pretended to be an athlete, you reach a certain point where you realize, you know what, I'm scoring more goals than most kids. I can cross the ball more than those kids. I'm running a little bit faster. When did you realize in boxing that you weren't just the average bear?
I think it was my third fight. And my good friend Kennedy McKinney, who won the Olympic gold medal in 1988, it was my third fight, and he was there and watched my fight, and I dominated it. I dominated my fight. And after, he told me, he's like, you got this skill. You're going to be one of the greatest boxers out there. You're going to definitely be a world champ. I have no doubt. I've been in this game for so long, and I see it in you.
Right.
So from getting that from a gold medalist, and he won a couple world title belts too, that's the moment I knew. I was like, okay, so this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
And have you ever had the other way? And I don't want to get into your confidence. Obviously, you're a very confident young lady. Have you ever felt, you know what, I'm not quite ready for a fight? Have you ever had that moment where maybe you're not ready and maybe there was a negative side to the sport? Has that ever happened to you?
No, I've never had that feeling. Yes, I've gone in. I mean, the only thing I take away from my losses is, okay, so this is what I need to go back in the gym and work on. These are my little weaknesses.
Sure.
That to where I can become not even that next level of becoming the greatest boxer. But no, I've never felt like, oh, I'm not ready, or I wasn't supposed to fight. None of those thoughts.
Here in the Deportes Nation, I'm Alex Parra. Today we're talking with Ginny Fuchs, captain of Team USA. She's joining us from Durango, Colorado, by the way, a beautiful part of the world. And speaking of beautiful parts of the world, Ginny, part of your life is really traveling. You live out of a suitcase.
Oh, yeah.
Can I say that? Is that fair? Based out of Colorado Springs, based out of the Houston, Texas area. But part of the world of boxing, part of your world in boxing has been traveling all over the world, right?
Oh, yes. I think so far this year I've been to Peru, Nicaragua, but mostly I'll travel like to 4 different countries within a year. So
Wow.
I'm always living out of my suitcase hotel rooms. I really am not in one place for very long. Like I think the longest I'll be in one place throughout the whole year is 2 months maybe. Because I'm either going from Houston to train there a little bit, back to Colorado for a camp, and then we go to wherever we are competing, like a week before competition to get acclimated. So yeah, I'm all over the place, but I enjoy it. That's one thing I love about boxing is I get to travel so much, and I get to go to countries that I would probably never go to unless I was boxing.
Absolutely. Now, can you give me a highlight and a low light, maybe the best place you've ever visited? And without offending too many people, maybe the worst place you've ever visited.
I don't know. That's a hard one. So I've been to South America a lot.
Right.
And I love South America. The only thing that shocked me is, the poverty in South America compared to other places I've been. In Europe, I've been I've been to Kazakhstan, Bulgaria, Sheffield, England, Spain. Spain might have been my favorite because we were on the coast of Spain and it was just so beautiful and it was warm, and I love the water. I love the beach. I'm a water person, so that
Sure.
might have been one of my favorites. And I must say, Buenos Aires, Argentina, was a beautiful city. It's got kind of like a European background to it, which I didn't expect when I got there. And the people are nice. The food and culture is awesome. So I mean, it's kind of hard to say between those two. But
Sure.
I can't say there's definitely no country that I had like a worse experience about. It's more of like maybe the shock factor of, like I said, the poverty in South America, and it kind of makes me sad, like, because I want to help, and I feel like I can't really do much.
Sure. Your travel.
But yeah, I enjoy every minute. Every country I go to, I enjoy every minute.
Your travels obviously have taken you to different parts of the world. Is women's boxing, are women's sports becoming more accepted throughout the world? Have you ever had any backlash because of it in your travels?
I'm actually surprised that I'm saying I haven't, but I really haven't.
Right.
Everywhere we go, they're pretty acceptable of our women's boxing team. I've had no problems.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Ginny, as we continue talking a little bit about your life and your background and what you're hoping to achieve, is the culmination for you, at least at the amateur level, an Olympic gold medal? So many of us, I know when I was a youngster, and I'm not certainly close to the talent that you are or the athlete that you are, dreamt of watching the Olympics, dreamt of what a gold medal would be like. You've won medals. You've won gold medals in different competitions. But that's your focus right now, isn't it? Tokyo 2020 and winning that gold medal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I see nothing but the gold in Tokyo. That's what I've trained so hard day in and day out for. So
would you say that that's one of the things that drives you? Because, as an amateur financially, you're not reaping the benefits, if you will, of a salary because of all of this. And do you think that should change at some point, that maybe amateur Olympians should be able to be compensated? Is that a fair way maybe to meet your basic needs, if you will?
Yes, and that has changed actually over the years. Like, we used to get a stipend, but it was nothing. It wasn't.
By the way,
at all that we could survive on.
Like what you're getting for the show. By the way, don't expect the big check, Ginny.
Dang, Alex, come on! I thought you were going to help me out. But no, over the years, they have increased our stipend, which is nice, and it also they've been giving out a little more bonuses depending on your performance for that year. If like I go undefeated for a year, they might give me a bonus for my performance that year, which is nice. Sure. So those things are starting to change. They are starting to think, look out more for the athletes, which is nice because it hasn't been that way in the past. So it's getting better, and I do think it should continue on this should continue on this momentum of helping the athletes more, supporting them more, so we're not struggling outside of the ring. We don't have to worry about that as much when we can focus more on our training and winning.
Absolutely, and that's what your life really has been about. And I don't want to get ahead
Yep.
of ourselves. Tokyo 2020 next summer. Your entire energy, your focus is to get Team USA there, and I sense you will, and you will be very successful. Have you thought about the future beyond your amateur, beyond Team USA, beyond being an Olympian?
Yes, I have. I do plan on turning pro after I win the gold in Tokyo. That is like the path that I have, that I am set on to go. So when I win gold medal, it'll give me a better opportunity to get signed by a good promotion company and get a good bonus, a signing bonus, because of winning that gold medal. So, that is how I see the future going to be for my career in boxing.
Absolutely, and I think we were all pulling for you, and I know you can get there. Ginny, we want to thank you for your time. I know that you're traveling right now, as you mentioned, in Colorado. I hope you enjoy your weekend, and we'll be talking to you throughout the next 12 months as you get ready for Tokyo. But I want to leave, if we can, with a nugget. Is there something maybe people have never asked you that they didn't know about you? For instance, I know you played soccer, you played at a local club in the Houston area. Is there something that nobody has ever asked you that maybe you want to give us an exclusive about here on Deportes Nation?
It's a tough one because I will say I'm a pretty open person and not shy to tell people about myself. I guess what a lot of people don't know about me is I do love acting. So when I was little, I was in a couple of plays, and
Wow.
I still would love to continue to maybe dip into the acting world.
Really?
So, but yeah, not most people don't know that I can act, but I'm a very good actress.
Well, you're pretending to have fun with me, so that must be a great acting job.
It's working.
By the way,
It's working good.
are you like a musical theater type that you can sing as well?
I wish I could sing, but no, just mostly just like a regular old play. No, like musicals. I wish I could, but
Well,
I don't have the vocals, unfortunately.
we'll close with this, and this will be a teaser for our next conversation. You have lately been very public about your struggle with OCD. And first of all, I want to commend you for that, because in many ways you're a role model for many people. And maybe in our next conversation, we'll talk about how you found out you had OCD and how you got to that point. But what made you want to be more public about it, Ginny? And it's taken a lot of courage, from my perspective at least, to get to that point. What made you say and take the decision, which I believe is a correct one, that by you talking about this, you can help others?
Well, for the longest, I was very, I guess, embarrassed and ashamed about my OCD because I knew, like, almost didn't really understand why I would have this fear of contamination and want to do these rituals.
Right.
And I know a lot of the public doesn't understand OCD. It's a very complicated disease. And so I used to hide it from people. And so I felt like I was hiding a part of my identity from people. And then when my friends started to see more and more about it and ask questions, I started telling them about it because I didn't, they're my friends, so I felt comfortable telling them about it.
Sure.
And then it just became more and more out there.